is Nico with CM Contracting. I'm going to be doing a repairability test here. I've got my drone footage going, recording for me while I do the test. So I'm going to be showing why this roof cannot be repaired. It is far too brittle on the shingles. The nails coming up. We're going straight through the shingles, and there's a lot of creasing as well as small tears that are being caused, as well as a couple larger tears. So right now I'm going to go ahead and start lifting up the shingles. They're coming up pretty easily as the tar strips are already worn. So these shingles are coming up rather easy. Don't have to do too much work to get them up. So you'll see I'm doing already one lift to get these shingles up so I can see where each one of the nails are. Establishing the right and left shingles, I'll have to lift to get to the back nails for the first shingle that you can see is creased on the footage. Being as delicate as I can, not going past a 45-degree angle, see each nail, but I'm already having to lift each for about 1 to 2 times right now to see where each one of the nails are. So the first nail is already giving me a little bit of difficulty. The nail is not coming up through the second shingle layer, so I'm having to go back under and kind of jimmy it to get it up. Once they do come up, they're stuck beneath the shingle layer, so the holes have already been compromised, making it so I could not get to a lot of them from the first layer, from the second layer. So I have to go back under the first layer and lift them a little bit higher than I like to, just to get to that nail and lift the nail out. Again, I'm being as delicate as possible, but these nails are not giving me an easy time due to the fact that the shingles are so worn that nails have already gone through the holes and they're not giving me any easy access to them. So the first nail came out finally in the second layer where it's supposed to. You'll see me go back through here to get the original nail. I have to go underneath the first layer with the grease shingle to go ahead and get that nail. Um, you can see it's pretty tough located under there. You'll see me go back and do that momentarily. So here's where it gets a little bit difficult. I'm trying to go back under the first layer, which is making it very tough to get to that nail. So I have to go under the actual first layer shingle to even get to that nail, and you can see how much I'm having to lift that shingle to get to it. Makes it very difficult. Finally comes back to the second layer shingle. Most of the nails come up pretty easily. Don't have to go through that first layer shingle too often. You can see I'm keeping the layer of the second shingles down as much as I can. not really having to be too forceful with any of them outside of those first few. Now, as I'm lifting these slightly, they are causing small tears in each one of the shingles above. Sometimes you'll see me point them out here. This is one of the ones I had to go back underneath the first layer shingle just to get that nail out because it went through these second layer's hole and I could not access it from that second layer. Here's another one I had to go back up underneath to get the that nail due to the fact that it is again through that hole already. These are the last few nails over here that I need to get. There's one up on the right over here and then another one that was hidden underneath. I'll find it here shortly. So you can see most of these are coming out properly how they're supposed to. Very lightly lifting the shingle to get them out. But even with the ones that are lifting up properly, they're causing some pretty decent tears in the top shingles. They cause some more tears once I go back through with the hammer to nail the nails back in. You see these top layer nails are coming out pretty nicely. Not having to lift either of the shingles too heavily to get them out. Thankfully the holes were not messed up too badly for these and I could easily access them without having to lift anything. This is the last couple nails here. One is directly underneath the right panel. The other will be headed a little bit further up there. I had to go up through this because it was already pushed through the hole. It was not accessible to the top. And then there's one final one that's hidden underneath the shingle that I find here shortly. Just remove that one and then I can remove the shingle. Found the nail, removing the last one here. Comes up pretty easily. Now that I removed all the nails, I can take the shingle out. I will show you here that the holes are rather large, which shows why I need to go under them certain ways to get them out. The nails went directly through them, were hidden underneath them, causing it to make it so I had to get the nails out by going underneath the first shingle. Now I'm going to point out some tears here in just a moment. There's a tear right here. I'll go ahead and show a little bit closer as we get there. Some creasing that started just from the lifts that I had to do for these shingles. Creasing here as well. Big tear right here by my hand. You can see it just from this video right there. There's a tear underneath one of the right panels as well. Let's go ahead and put this shingle back in so we can start the nailing in process. Now the nailing in process, you know that you obviously have to lift the shingles a little bit higher to get the hammer in there at the right angle to go and nail them down, but I'm still pretty delicate with it and keep it at a smaller angle to try to keep from as much creasing as possible. Obviously you don't want to create too much creasing when you're repairing these shingles, so do my best to do that, but you can still see that it causes some damages and further ripping of the shingles by having to go in here with the hammer. As you can see, I'm being very delicate. We're trying to lift the shingle up, not going too high. You'll see a lot of contractors will not be too easy on these. We'll lift them very high to get this hammer and nail in there. That way they have good access to that, but I'm going to be as gentle as I can, so that way to prevent from any kind of creasing or further rips, showing a proper repairability test. The tear over here, I was being as delicate as I could right there, to further that tear from causing any further tearing. Um, but there's some significant tears on a few of these shingles just from having to do this process. Again, being as delicate as I can with lifting these shingles up, not trying to create too much of an arc, otherwise it will create further creasing and possible tearing. Now I'm not having to hammer these down too heavily because they are already very fragile with the holes that they're in. The nails are going in very easily. Typically you have to hammer them in pretty significantly if the shingles aren't that easy to repair, but as you can see that they are going in very easily, making it so the holes are already very stripped, and the wood underneath might be compromised as well. So I'm going to take the drone here, I'm going to get as close as I can to these shingles, get a better angle. Some of the angles I didn't hit too well, but you can still see some of the tears that I was trying to show you in this video. And you can go back through the video and see where I pointed out the tears originally to make it seen. So that's the original crease shingle. This is showing just some slight tears here for the shingles. Again, I missed that angle. Here's a tear right here. That one I got pretty decently. Finding small tears around this area here. You can see some creasing slightly on the shingle as well from lifting it up. Not too much creasing here, but there is some granular loss. But you can see that here's another tear coming up here. Right here, small tear.